Do all INFPs love notebooks, writing, and books in general? Coming up in this video, I'll talk about why I believe that is true for almost all of us, especially myself, and why that comes about through our personality type. I was just telling my wife yesterday that I have this thing for notebooks and pens and pencils. I just like anytime that I go shopping, even if it's at the dollar store or something like that, and I see this like huge row of dollar store, 100 yen store, the 100 yen store here in Japan. I see like this row of books and notebooks and pens. I almost always like pick up one. I'm like, I want you. I want to buy you. Even though I have so many that are just unfinished, if that's even a possible thing. There are blank pages upon blank pages. I always want to buy a new one. I get excited and start writing about whatever's going on. I draw pictures and diagrams and flesh out my thoughts and ideas. And this is something that is extremely important to INFPs. It's almost essential for our personality type. Self-reflection and expression and recapping what happened in the past. And then hopefully taking action on implementing that. So within our personality type, we have these 4 different characters, our cognitive functions. We have the soul, the explorer, the guardian, and the commander. The soul is introverted feeling, technically. This is a judging function, how we make decisions on what we should do. And it's what resonates with us, reflecting over who we are as a person, our identity, our values, what we like, what we dislike, and our conscience. And it is a constant, ever-present process. Unless we are depressed. And actually, well, okay. When we are depressing ourselves, we are likely too reflective in a negative way. But what happens often, and this is something that comes up in a lot of client conversation calls, is that when we are in a really bad state, it's because we have not been doing that. We're like, oh, I used to journal all the time. Maybe I should get back to doing that. Maybe I should do that more again because life was pretty good when I was doing that. But we get distracted by the pull of everyday life and the necessities of doing all these different things and scheduling. We kind of lose ourselves as a priority. But it's really important to reflect how you felt, what went well, what didn't go well, who you want to be, just dreaming about yourself and talking to the different parts of yourself, the different characters within you, that part of you that was frustrated and angry today. Have a little conversation with it, and you will likely get some insights into why it was happening, what that part of yourself wants for you or from you or both, and the next steps that you could take. So the explorer is extroverted intuiting. Technically, it's a perceiving process. It's how we gather information and learn about the world, and it's through connecting the dots and exploding them out and saying, well, this is connected to this and this and this and this and this, and doing this big like mind map of all the interconnected nodes. Or what if I did this? What if I took this action? Then next week, maybe I'd be doing this. And a year from now, maybe I would be doing this. And this could happen in this. It's exploring the possibilities. The innovating explorer character within you loves doing that, which is why it's important to find self-expression through creativity. Another thing that is really important about journaling and notebooks is that expression, self-expression, exploring, putting ourselves into different imagination-based contexts. Like story writing is extremely powerful, especially for INFPs, because we get to imagine life as these different characters, these different people. We get to actively pursue Sonder and that realization that everyone else is actually living a very complex, complicated, complete life as well. We get to do that in an imaginational way. And it's not the real thing. It's not like putting yourself into their skin. That sounds horrible. But it's playing with different ideas and exploring who we could be and what life would be like in these different situations. and also just self-expression in general that comes from writing. You are figuring out how to communicate what is going on inside. An introverted feeling doesn't have language. The soul doesn't have language for what's going on. It needs the explorer, extroverted intuition, to put it out there in an analogy, in a metaphor, in some sort of like, it's kind of like this. That is really helpful for us because it gets it out. And when it's out there, when it's been extroverted, then we can reflect over it and we can see it and we can like play with it. A lot of times, as myself as an INFP too, I'm like, no, I can do this internally. I can just figure it all out. But every time that I've written something down or I use these Post-it notes that I put on my wall here, it changes things. Journaling is doing the same thing. And moving over to the Guardian introverted sensing, this is another perceiving function, but instead of about being exploring things, it's about delving, reflecting, mulling over, reminiscing of your past. And what happened in the past, even if it's today and you're doing like daily journaling, it's like what went well, what didn't go well, how did I like this, how did I not like this, what part of me was activated when I was doing this. What often happens though for us without a journaling process is that we get in these loops of, well, I'm a bad person because I did this thing in the past. I can't trust myself because I did this thing in my past. I can't trust my intuition. And it's a looping process of we make a decision based off our feeling, our values, or our identity, some sort of identity-based decision. I am a bad person. And then we go over to the Guardian and say, well, why am I a bad person? Please tell me more. And it just gives us endless experiences that we've had that are reflecting the answer that we are seeking. The Explorer is the counter to that, right? Do new things, do creativity, go somewhere new that you've never been, and you will learn more. You'll get more experiences, you'll get more connections of the world, and then you can reflect better over those through your introverted sensing. I digress though, back to journaling. So to use this in a positive way, the Guardian is good at reflecting over what happened, and then we can think of how can we implement this to maintain stability, to maintain consistency in a way that we want. If things are not as we want right now, then we are maintaining consistency in a way that is not good for us. If we don't like our job because there's instability in our job, it's not consistent, we're not making the money that we want, we don't have the hours that we want, then we are maintaining that. Sorry to say, I mean, that might be a difficult thing to hear, but like it is an emergent of our actions as well as the actions and, connections of the environment. But we are the main node within that. We are the protagonist of our story. So we need to be activated, taking action on the things that are important to us. And so if we get in these cycles, these loops, then we are maintaining consistency in the way that we don't want. So we can reflect over how things were and say, if this continues, how are things going to be? Well, they're probably going to be the same. So I need to do something different. I need to change things. If we're not getting what we want out of life, then we need to do something different. Not be somebody different. We can expand ourselves. We can gain new skills. We can learn more about ourselves, grow. It doesn't mean to not be ourselves. I heard you. I get that comment quite often. So I just need to be somebody else completely different than myself. No, you need to be you, but gaining the skills and competencies that help you live the life that you want to live is something that everybody needs to do. And the commander is extroverted thinking, making decisions. It's a judging function, making decisions based off external metrics, time, energy cost, resources. How do I get things done? And scheduling that is likely one of those ways. That is a difficulty for us, but we can handle it through journaling. So it's not just journaling is not just something that is like fun to do. Notebooks are not just something that's fun to do. It is fun to do. It helps with self-understanding, exploring different ideas, reflecting over our past, but also it can give us steps that we need to take in order to live the life that we want to live. And if we just set up 1 to 3 tasks that we're going to check off for the next day, things get a lot better because we are making active progress and we're tracking the progress. We're seeing that we are making improvements in our lives, and that feels good. It builds momentum and it makes us want to do it more and more. And you can always reflect over how things went in other past notebooks too. If you got this stack of notebooks, take some time to like look over some of the past ones from 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and see what you were thinking and what you wanted for yourself, what you were going through. And if it's the same as what you're going through right now, then that could also be a sign that it's time to take different actions, to do things outside of your comfort zone. Listen to the commander, like just take some actions, get some feedback, track it, measure it, and do more in some direction. Which I know is a difficulty for a lot of us INFPs. So through this, I explained why INFPs like notebooks and notes, what's going on deep within us that actually has this connection to those. I do want to know more about what your thoughts are on this. Are there any things that I missed when I was talking about why this happens? I'm sure there are, because there's an endless amount of things to talk about. And if you do want some help, I have a journaling process within the INFP Masterclass. Go to infp.geekpsychology.com and you will learn my process for journaling that works with the INFP personality type, as well as you'll learn about the cognitive functions, the 4 different parts of your personality type, and tips, tricks, techniques, mindsets that you can use to improve your strengths and manage your weaknesses, so that you can live into your values and what's important to you, explore creativity, lean into that as a strength, combine those to live a life that is fulfilling and meaningful to you, but also clearing up the past and learning how to set goals and take actions on the things that are important for you in your life that will help you emerge into who you want to become. I'd love to see you there. Good luck, have fun. Peace.